Is the industry finally learning? Sweet Baby Inc., a former employee, has now come out and basically said, yeah, developers don't want to hire me after I worked for Sweet Baby Inc. Which does imply actually that the industry is starting to figure out that Sweet Baby Inc. is cancer. It is destructive and just a recipe for disaster. You know, we've even got the likes of this, Sweet Baby Inc. or Sweet Baby Effect. God of War Ragnarok peak player count is now less than half of God of War. And that's not to say that it's an utterly atrocious or awful game, but is it subpar compared to the first? I mean, it looks that way if player count matters. So let's take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here. We've been sort of chronicling Sweet Baby Inc. ever since it began, I guess, getting into the public domain a little bit more. It's just been fascinating to watch. This is the gaming industry speed running wokeness, really. You know, every single game developer began hiring narrative consultants, but every single narrative consultant was just a complete woke shit show, because the whole point of a narrative consultant is to say, hey, we've got writers at this game developer, right? We're writing this game, but actually we need people that are more associated with the material that we're writing to come in and advise us on sensitivities and just elements where we ourselves may be going wrong. I mean, that in essence is the sort of woke doctrine as it is, because it implies that you have to be of a certain persuasion to be able to write something. And there were perfectly legitimate games that were produced very, very fine without that kind of nonsense. So anyway, so it says here, a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, Kazuma Hashimoto, revealed that developers did not want to hire him because he worked for the video game consultancy company. Good. You shouldn't be working for them. They shouldn't even exist. Like, they categorically should not exist. Narrative consultants shouldn't exist. A writer should be able to go off and do a bunch of research and then come up with the story. You don't need to hire a narrative consultancy company to come in and tell you where you're going wrong. A writer should be able to do that. They should be able to facilitate that without the need of narrative consultants. It's not... This shouldn't be a revelation to anyone. That's what writers are supposed to do. Now, I don't know, actually. I think it's quite comical, or it's worthwhile examining. Is that a byproduct of wokeness in general, or is that a byproduct of creative bankruptcy and laziness? Or maybe it's twofold. So Hashimoto was recently featured in an article written by Zachary Small at the New York Times, where he claimed that Japanese people were not upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and claimed that much of the pushback against the game and one of its main characters, Yasuke, was being done by Westerners using translators. Now this individual is just woke as you like, but it is funny that this guy just gets what he deserves. It's the find out part of the F around equation. So he said this, quote, "It was people in the West who were upset with seeing Yasuke as a samurai. That many of the negative online comments written in Japanese appeared to have been roughly translated from English. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. But okay, mate." So in a recent Twitch stream discovered by YouTuber Smash JT, Hashimoto provided more details about the New York Times, saying, quote, "A couple of months ago, the New York Times actually got in touch with me to ask me about Assassin's Creed. In which I was like, yeah, reception's honestly like kind of positive, and a lot of the comments you'd see under videos were like straight up Google Translate comments, which is pretty obvious. I'm sure there are some, like obviously, but all of them, no. However, he then noted how annoyed the Japanese people are with certain aspects of the game. Oh, okay, so now you do admit it. And like people are like annoyed with some of the inconsistencies and issues of Shadows, which is like the buildings and stuff being wrong, or certain clothing and whatnot, right? Or the fact that the art team basically stole a sign from a reenactment troupe in Japan. Yeah, not great for a game company to do that. And that's actually like pretty common, because when you're working with such a large team of artists, sometimes they're sort of given the direction to Google things. Wow. And people make mistakes. It's more like you're working with a team of people that speak multiple different languages, and whether or not they can communicate with each other is an issue. And that's just become part of the game development. That's ridiculous. What an awful explanation. Well, they Googled it, so they didn't know. What? I mean, Google provides a description for the images, for God's sake. So later in the stream, Hashimoto claimed he did not work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. He said, quote, "I can say that I didn't do any consultation work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. The stuff I did with Sweet Baby, I will never be able to talk about just because of the way the game development works." Ah, you mean you actually want people to buy the game? Yes. So you don't want it revealed that they worked on it? Yes. So yeah, it's really, really weird. I have a feeling that I'm going to get blamed for changes and decisions made on a game that I worked on that weren't even that I didn't even know about or wasn't even aware of or not even part of. Because when you're a consultant, they just kind of pull you in and they ask you for suggestions. And whether or not these suggestions are actually taken up is to the director. It's up to the director. People don't understand how much power a director and producer have in a studio and whether or not they will facilitate those changes. But you shouldn't be working for these companies. And you full-blown... this individual loves this nonsense anyway. There's multiple instances of this person writing articles about, needing more representation and things like this. And not Japanese representation. We're talking about, nonsense. So, you shouldn't be working for these companies to begin with, quite frankly. My heart does not bleed for you at all. So, anyway, later in the stream, Hashimoto revealed that developers did not want to hire him, given he was a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee. Good. There are definitely jobs that I've had where, people have seen, the fact that I worked for Sweet Baby, and it's been a year since I've worked with them, and it's just, contractual basis, when I was so just, periodically for a couple of years. I hate this. What? Can you please stop saying for goodness sake? People will literally be they're not hiring you for your English skills, are they? Unbelievable. Hey, are we going to get harassed for hiring you? Ah, that's hilarious. And I think that really sucks. That instead of we'll protect our employee, the employer or the potential person giving you the contract will be more concerned about that than protecting their employees. Kind of effed up. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Shouldn't be working for them. Sweet Baby Inc. shouldn't exist. This is gold. I love this. Amazing. And it says, interestingly, this appears to contradict Kim Belair's recent comments during an appearance on the Black Girl Gamers YouTube channel. She said, quote, "I think annoying is a very good word for it because largely it doesn't materially affect our work. The vast majority of these companies already know what's going on and they still hire us. They know what we actually do and it doesn't necessarily change our baseline survival, but it does change our comfort level with which we can exist in online spaces." And so it ends up being this kind of very challenging, but still, it's just a distraction. It's a distraction. It feels very much like it's a time-wasting thing. It's a demoralizing thing, but it doesn't affect our day-to-day. It's just noise outside. Yeah, I doubt it, though. I mean, well, no, I don't. Do I doubt it? I don't know. Comical, though, guys. Hilarious. And just real quick, just to show this. God of War Ragnarok, 31,000 peak. All-time peak. And God of War, 73,000 peak. But that was 2.7 years ago. So, but it does go to show how different it is. I mean, that's quite a big change, isn't it? I mean, it's different on a return basis. But hey, still worth taking a look at. Goes to show that, or maybe it just goes, maybe it's just a symptom of the video game industry falling apart and people not wanting to spend so much money on games anymore. Who knows? But there you go, ladies and gents. Former Sweet Baby Inc. employee implies that developers did not want to hire him after working for Kim Belair's company. Amazing. Sweet Baby Inc., you shouldn't exist. You literally shouldn't exist. There's no reason for you guys to exist. A writer worth his salt would go out and research the things that a narrative consultant company does. It would cost the video game developers significantly less money just having the writer do all of this stuff. Just pay them a little bit more. They'd be happy to do it. You'd get a better result. This is nonsense. I'm glad you guys are going down. Leave your thoughts down below. If you like what I do here, please do support me further over on my Patreon. It's linked down below. Would really appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen, because I do get demonetized here. So to help me continue bringing you videos like this, support me over on Patreon. It's the first link down below. Cheers, take care, bye-bye now.